there, and welcome to Grey Muzzle Geekery for the week of March 30th, 2020, episode 45. I'm Dusty Red, in quarantine with the one and only
Dusty White.
And let's get right into this week's news. News.
If you are a fan of Chicago's most polarizing potable, like a few of our listeners are, don't worry. You can now be a fan in multiple ways. That's right, another Chicago distillery is using their booze to help fight COVID-19. CH Distillery, which now owns the brand Jepson Malort, has started making hand sanitizer. Tremaine Atkinson, the CEO and head distiller, said the company hopes to begin donating 1-liter bottles of the product next week. The initial run is set for 500 bottles. If they have surplus after satisfying demand by the healthcare organizations, we will look into releasing some to the public, Atkinson stated. CH is joining Koval, 28 Mile Vodka, and Copperfield, which began donating to Chicago area police and fire stations earlier this week. Thoughts?
All right, so let's call it for this. There's a lot of companies that are doing, I know Budweiser's now doing it. Another local one, Whiskey Acres, is turning their, I mean...
That's more local to me than you, but yes.
Whatever. It's Illinois, all right? However, I think Malort is missing the point, personally. Like, all these hand sanitizers and stuff is to help kill off the virus or anything that's any bacteria that's on your hand. Like, so they're focusing on, like, oh, let's kill the virus. Malort is its own lesson of social distancing. Like...
Okay, explain.
I have Malort. No one wants to be within 10 feet of me. Ta-da! Social distancing! So that's obviously a missed opportunity there. We have all sorts of places that have stepped up, though, and started making the hand sanitizers in other forms. I mean, they did this before, though. Budweiser's turned over their facilities and turned their stuff into water when they had crisis. Now, admittedly, it's not a very difficult step to turn.
They just don't do the yellow food coloring
to turn Budweiser into water. But yeah, so I mean, it's cool to see that these places will step up and assist the public in this regard of, hey, we have the facilities. It's kind of World War II-ish or World War when they started doing interchangeable parts.
I was gonna say that's kind of my notation here is like, is this the equivalent of this epidemic or this pandemic of our victory gardens from World War II, where you know you couldn't have canned goods very often because tin needed to be used more efficiently for the war effort?
Donate your nylons and donate your tin and donate. I mean, the concept's there, and it goes beyond. It goes well before such of, hey, we have parts and capabilities of making things for public, and to a point, like finances only go so far.
Yeah.
Like if everybody's dead, you can't make money.
And I made sure to notate the fact that they were going to, if there was a surplus after the initial 500. If there is a surplus, they will produce more. But again, past that amount of healthcare facilities needing it to give to the public or sell to the public. And I know specifically a couple of us that might buy it just for the joke of it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think the hand sanitizer might be the more drinkable thing the Lord has to offer.
I'll do a shot of Malort and then you know use a hand sanitizer. It's all a function.
Oh, the COVID.
But it's
the Malort COVID.
Yeah, but it's mementos of an older generation of like we 20 years from now. Say our friend who, you know, we'll call him out right now, Inger, loves Malort, and he's made us do shots of it, and everybody else do shots of it.
There's no making involved. He just looks at you and you go, okay.
All right.
He hasn't like held a gun to your head and went like, you need to drink this. You went, you should drink this. No, you love it. It's okay. You don't have to see you are Malort closeted, and it's okay. You are in the closet, my friend. Come out of the closet with whatever other bathtub.
Embrace your Malort love.
We need to get Malort t-shirts. You need to like just.
But I could see somebody like Inger buying the hand sanitizer if it does become public, and kind of saving that as a memento to This is our history we're living in. It's 2020 and
Nobody's prepared for an epidemic
10,
of this.
20 years from now. Like, look at, we're 10 years, we're more than 10 years out past 9/11. And
How many years?
10 plus. I'm not doing the math right now.
19 years. Keep drinking.
But
Just keep drinking.
I'm just saying we're past it, and we've got a lot of mementos that we can save from this time.
Sure.
Of, yeah, this is when shit got real and life kind of got put on hold because of a pandemic. Like, seriously, it's realistically real. But yeah, I kind of equate all these distilleries changing some of their habits. Like, obviously, they're still producing their alcohol and they're still producing their product, but they've reserved a section of it or reserved a portion of it to help the services or help the situation that all of us find ourselves in.
So our second article will be called Making a Buck, as the Beacon Tap, located in Des Plaines, Illinois, announced that with every delivery or takeout order, they'd also include with it a roll of toilet paper. In fact, many small businesses and other people who don't qualify as essential services are dealing with a loss of income. The Beacon Tap has seen a little increase in sales and laughter, though, all because of this, as more out-of-the-box thinking has come to the forefront of small business owners. So another thing that comes to mind also is Boober Eats, which, as you'd guess, is a food delivery service brought to you by the Lucky Devil Lounge, a strip club in southeast Portland, that has their food delivered to you by exotic dancers in booty shorts and pasties covering their breasts. What other means of this outside-the-box thinking have you seen? I mean, obviously for you in particular, you work from home.
I do work from home. Well, home is in the vicinity of this area, since I chose to quarantine myself with somebody I know versus somebody I don't really know, and the quarantine of my bedroom. So I think this is kind of the, like, I think I would be more acceptable of it, or at least find it more interesting, or I guess funny, if it was Hooters doing it. Because, I mean, then at that point, they're just delivering in their outfit or their work attire.
It reminds me of the Wendy's, like, Twitter roast of, like, Hooters, like, added Wendy's and was like, what do you guys offer that we don't? And Wendy's response was, uniforms our employees can wear in the wintertime.
I would definitely take over hot, spicy chicken nugs over Hooters wings any day. I'm not even going to lie.
I don't know. Hooters wings aren't too bad. I like Hooters wings. I like Hooters wings.
Really? Over B-dubs?
B-dubs is terrible.
B-dubs
is one of the worst freaking buffalo wing places. Not even get on there. Any ideas on...
I'm just saying, I like that companies are trying to find, even distilleries local to the area are finding ways to be like, no, order your 6-pack, or, support the fact that we are a distillery. We're still trying to provide to the service of our community. Mm-hmm. Curbside pickup is a big thing.
Well, and I said going to another Buffalo place, like Buffalo Wings and Rings is one of my favorite places. I walked in. It was pickup only, and it's a bar as well, so all the TVs are off, all the chairs are up. There's one sad kid behind the counter, just like, I assume you're Mr. Rodriguez. Like, yeah, it's like, here's your 40-something wings. Like,
but at the end of the day, hey, that sad kid can now pay his bills.
Okay, he's not making that much, but yes, correct.
But I'm just saying, is companies are trying their best to still facilitate the public and provide income for the employees that they have. Like, this is just, I mean, what's the last time we had a pandemic? Like 100 years ago? Like, we're still trying to, like, get into the groove of things, and as this continues,
White bear masks are going to be all the rage again. I'm down for it. They look good in the early 1900s. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just saying, is we're all still kind of trying to adjust to everything, and I applaud, especially my own company. I applaud every company that's trying to do the best for the workers that they have. Like, we joked about it 2 weekends ago where we talked about Pornhub. And the fact
they're doing it for United States now too.
I did see that.
Pornhub
they
is definitely Pornhub is definitely offering free premium membership. Wink, wink. to people to stay in.
We're audio and visual. You actually have to wink now.
Shut up.
But I'm just saying is I support.
You get to be entertained and exercise at the same time thanks to Pornhub.
Oh. So I am excited.
Eleanor says wank, wank.
Wank, wank, nice. I support a lot of companies that are choosing to think outside the box. Again, like, hey.
Like Pornhub?
Oh my gosh. I set you up for that so bad.
Anyway.
They are going above and beyond. That they're trying to provide a service for not only their employees, but for the public in general. Like, hey, we know it's funny out there. The TP shortage of 2020 is a joke. It'll be memes from now until freaking forever. Let's be honest. That's just what we've got. And I kind of make a joke of it, but it's kind of serious where, you know, the future in interviews of companies, hey, what did your company do in this situation? Because
what do you have to offer me especially if you come in, hey, I would, like, for me, I'm an idiot that decided to get a new job before the pandemic.
And in what industry?
It's kind of again, we go back to what we said last week or last time of, like, it's sort of medical field. I deal with water filtration and water purification and all that stuff. So yay. And a lot of the machines that we make are for hospitals and colleges and military. Yay. So I count as an essential service. But how do you deal with, like, I go up to another company now and I'm like, hey, do you consider yourself an essential service? From what I hear, my old job is still open.
Right.
And I don't know if they would qualify as an essential service. Wank, wank. So, eyebrows. So, like, you could rat them out, I guess, but it's a case of at what point do you say you're an essential service? So you have to go through those guidelines. There has been a lot of, like, I guess sheriff's offices and stuff closing places down and be like, no, you're not an essential service.
Yeah, GameStop.
But, well, GameStop deserves everything they get. Like, don't get me started on that. I worked for before I worked for Funkoland. Grey Muzzle! Woo woo! But yeah, so everybody's going to try to do their best. I guess it's moments like this when you go, what are you offering? What are you genuinely trying to do? How do you contribute other than just lining your own pockets? So, I don't know.
We here at Grey Muzzle like to think we coined polystreamous relationship. Well, now in the COVID world we live in, let's make it even more interesting. Netflix Party extension lets you watch and chat with friends in total synchronization. A Google Chrome extension named Netflix Party provides this tool alleviate the string of social distancing for those that would normally throw watch parties or movie nights.
Do you pre-read your...
I do.
Okay.
Thanks, Google. It has existed for a few years, but has received renewed attention as more and more people enter confinement in order to limit the spread of COVID-19. Once installed, then a person can share the link to the event with the loved ones that they wish to watch the program with. Also, with group chat to share thoughts in real time. Well, I know personally I've been rewatching Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
And Boy Meets World.
And Boy Meets World. Just lighter. I guess I shouldn't call Buffy the Vampire Slayer lighter watching. But just things that I know I can have on background because I've watched it previously.
You're a multitasker.
I am a multitasker.
I am very bad about multitasking when it comes to, like, I'm gonna play a video game and watch a movie and browse Pornhub or whatever. I just can't do that. Even when I get, like, even setting this up,
right.
This little mini improv studio thing. I turned all audio off, even turned the fan off because the hum of it was bothering me as I was trying to like backwards engineer how I want to get everything set up to be as simple as possible, which is why everybody who is actually listening to us live on Discord is we're all going through Dusty White's chat because we got her on the laptop, and then I am in as Dusty Red, but I'm streaming or Chromecasting to the TV so I can actually see everybody's chat. So Buffy the Vampire Slater, Dusty, see? So, but yeah, so I'm bad at that kind of multitasking. I'm very
linear thinking,
very focused like that. Again, you joke about undiagnosed ADHD. Who knows? 'Cause I ooh shiny like the best of them.
It's not undiagnosed at this point, I assure you.
Anybody that's listened to me for more than 5 minutes knows. But I can only focus on one tune at a time. See, boom. But yeah, but we have you set up. You have your stuff for work, and you have your stuff for whatever else you do.
Well, even when I'm not working from home, I'm a podcast listener. Mm-hmm. There's certain podcasts that I know I can listen to, and again, I can work and function, type emails, assess tickets and things like that with no issue. There's some things I can't do. I will prefer unlyricked music when I'm writing articles for the show.
Sure.
Or reading articles. I can't read. I guess I shouldn't say that because I write emails, but I'm just saying I can't read and comprehend. I guess that's the key word, is comprehend things while listening to somebody else talk.
Sure.
I have that problem at work when somebody's talking in my ear and then I have somebody trying to help me over my shoulder. I'll be like, okay, I can only listen to one of you and comprehend at the same time.
I'm with you on that, for sure.
But if it's atmosphere or, hey, Buffy the Vampire is on while I'm working on stuff, again, it's stuff that I've watched before. I'm not watching for the storyline. I'm just it's white noise at that point.
And especially now, and when everybody's in the quarantine status type stuff, it's good to have another voice in a room. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's call space page here. That's kind of how we run our podcast. Like, we do not expect our listeners to listen to every single word that we say. Mm-mm. We pride ourselves on being a voice in the background when people are doing other things. If you want to listen to everything we say, then, hey, thank you. Awesome. We'll appreciate the support. Keep doing.
Find us at Patreon.
Find us at Patreon. No, but nice shameless plug. There you go. But the way we do our show is definitely background noise. It's definitely for people to listen in. And you could tune in. And again, one of the biggest compliments I think that we received was from another listener who apologized and was like, hey, I turned off the show halfway through. I'm like, what happened? They're like, well, you guys started talking about old video games, and I paused the show, and then for 2.5 hours was talking to my kid about old video games. Yep. And
no, that's absolutely what we want.
I'm okay with that. We inspired a conversation, and then you went on. That was awesome. That was fantastic. So that's what we're trying. We're not a primary focus. We're not like a crime documentary where everything we say is...
You need point by point or bullet points or, hey, halfway through I'm like, oh, wait, now I'm lost in the story. We're not an audio podcast that's trying to tell a story. We're really just conversing with one another and recording it.
And kind of picking stuff that's going on in the world that's relevant to some of the thoughts that we have as 30-something-year-olds, because we do have some listeners that are in their 20s and younger that kind of look and go, oh, apparently what I'm interested in is also, interesting to 30-something-year-olds, because you do have that issue of stuff that my dad or my mom likes is dumb.
Right.
And then you're like, well, I mean, I've seen it all. We've done it all. Are you into LARPing? Are you into video games? Are you into this? One of the memes I seen was as all the was it the Gen Zers are panicking as all the old school gamers are logging in and kicking their ass. Just because I'm close to 40 doesn't mean I still can't take you out in Call of Duty.
I have kept myself from posting this just because on my actual personal Facebook, but check on your extroverts that are not gamers, because we are not okay.
Yeah, I like to kill rats.
Yeah,
they're embodiment of the plague.
You definitely have a bigger outlet than I do. I am not a gamer.
You are still trying to get over the first jump in Hollow Knight, going, my timing is off.
I will forever suck at these things. These are just not skills I have developed. Like, you joke about...
I've already killed my old-fashioned lady. What's taking you so long?
Here you go.
All right, drink number 2 is brought to you by Krabby's Original Alcoholic Ginger Beer. Extreme close-up for on camera. All right, anyway, continue.
So, again, just check on your extroverts that may or may not be gamers, because it's a little crazy out here with us. Again, I'm blessed, again, to work from home. But
Hashtag blast.
I don't really have a community of... I shouldn't say that. I have a community of people that I appreciate and I love very much, but I am not in the gaming
different.
community as far as, hey, I'm going to blow off some steam by, like you said, killing...
That's what Pornhub's for. We've established that.
Killing rats, but I prefer side scrollers. Like, I can sit here and get my gaming kick off by playing Super Mario by myself.
Sure.
But again, just it's that joke. But to kind of go back to the article, what are some suggestions of shows that if you were going to partake in the extension itself, the Chrome extension, that you would watch with somebody from, halfway across the world? Or
Well, it depends what you're looking for. And that's the thing I think is important. It's not so much the show that you want to, the movie or the TV show, the movie you want to see.
Right.
We're seeing some good ones here showing up in chat. I think it's also the kind of experience you're looking for. Do you want to have like one earbud in and communicate with your friend and talk shit to a TV show, or, very communal in terms of, watching a horror movie and be like, don't run up the stairs, Becky, you stupid. So
it's called social distancing. Don't go outside.
So you go that route, or do you go into a more of a serious route? Again, something we want to see still as Altered Carbon. Mm-hmm. I think that would be a fun one to watch with like a notepad and like talking to friends like at certain points, stop it every now and then, and kind of put notes down of, hey, what do you think's going on, or some sort of crime thing, or Lock and Key. We're already kind of half watching.
I watched a lot of Lock and Key. I kind of got disinterested about halfway through when it started to be filler episodes.
Says the person that watches Fairy Tale and some other anime.
Okay, but that's like...
You can't spell anime without filler episodes.
You fool.
Fool.
I will agree with that, but it's just I have picked up a couple of series. I will be completely honest here to kind of tangent, go figure. But I've picked up a couple of series that are very mainstream, you should watch. And I'm just finding myself going, okay, I'll watch 3 or 4 episodes and be like, and I'm done. The Witcher was one of them. You were personally here playing a video game while I literally turned it off and went, I'm done with this.
And so. But
that's more of my problem.
Why are you turning off Witcher?
I just I'm very specific about certain character. Yeah, I'm very specific about a certain female perspective of I'm this powerful bad ass person that is a wizard of beyond compare, and then I'm like, I want a baby, and maybe that's just me. I'm not child prone. That I'm just like, okay, that's the only thing you want. You have everything else in the world that you can possibly have, but maybe there's a little bit of I can't have this, so this is what I'm fixating on. But at the same time, it's just a little, it turned me off a little bit. Not to say I won't go back and watch it. It's just one of those things that I'd be like, okay, I can, I guess, waste my time watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer another time in the fact that I'm a 90s child. I don't know.
Okay, and it only took me till recently when you're watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer that I went, man, A, Sarah Michelle Gellar's petite. B, she's really trying hard to flaunt some boobies that she does not have. Like, overalls and crop tops and short everything else, and just like, Oh man, you tried. Oh man, you were trying so. And the style, clothing style, and everything is. Oh my goodness.
I said like that was the style back then, and it wasn't until like sort of they had it with Cordelia, but it wasn't until they had Anyanka or Anya back on the show that they had anybody with actual curves. Because if you compare what Willow looked like versus to Sarah Michelle Gellar, they have very similar body types. Yeah. And also. Here's the other thought.
Well, I've got a long time crush for. Yeah, anyway,
I'm tangenting off of this because I have.
So you're tangenting off of a tangent from a tangent. Got it.
But here's the other thing I tangent off of is shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer or even Friends have either not aged well. I guess age is maybe not the best word.
No, you're on something.
But they have not aged well because in the world of media streaming where I can watch episode after episode after episode, you are more aware of how big, and I'll use Friends as an example, you are more aware of how big of a complete douche canoe Ross Geller is, or Xander Harris, so when you watch episode after episode versus when I was a teenager.
You watched one episode, had a week,
watched another episode, or maybe I missed a week.
Well, and at that point, it's a case of characters of, this character is funny for 5 minutes because of this, but when you're chain watching them and just like plowing through 2-3 seasons, and you're like, wow, that chain character is really
Zach Morris is trash.
but and maybe that's something that, I mean, obviously it wasn't thought about back then when we were making these. When you're writing it as a storyteller or as a writer or anything, you could look and go, this character has its flaws, but
they're so much more magnified when it's episode after episode after episode. When you have a week or even a season break,
then you could go, okay, hey, well, because as a writer, you want to reinforce those character flaws or those traits. But that's also
they're supposed to make them more relatable.
But that's sitcom writing because you're writing for space. Again, it goes back to the conversation we had a couple weeks ago with Harry Potter in terms of like you didn't think I was watching and like. Yeah, there's some characters in there that were viewed differently by me compared to hardcore Harry Potter fans. Because within 1 month, I've gotten 16, 17, 18 hours of a particular character, whereas dealing with them for 2 hours and then a year break and 2 hours and a year break, and I've gotten them all in 18 hours. I went, Hermione's a bitch. Like, oh my god, go away, you know it all. No one likes you. How do you have any friends? How do you have any friends?
I feel like pretentious is a better word for that than maybe something so dramatic
But when you look at it and you compare it to real life, would you be friends with somebody like this? If that was
am that person.
But now that I've been with you for 2 weeks, yeah, you are then. But it's interesting in terms of writing and see, soon enough every sitcom, and you know what? That's not a bad point to bring up of how many things are going to start having this kind of episode, and what kind of writer is going to think about that?
I definitely
how much of this character's trait is not funny after 2 weeks in isolation.
I definitely think that there's more or at least Netflix original shows or Hulu original shows have definitely changed.
Netflix and Hulu don't give a crap. Which I love. I love the fact they're willing to take risks on even Amazon Video has Jim Gaffigan's special instead of it going to Netflix or VHS, HBO. HBO and so Showtime had all the comedy specials.
True.
Then Netflix started doing a special every other week.
Oh, Netflix is releasing comedy special after comedy special after comedy special. Now, mind you, they were supposed to be having we talked about it in our news a couple of weeks ago, where they're supposed to have a comedy festival. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Hang on a second. And yes, anybody could join the chat at any time. It is just audio, not I've got it set up. Don't worry. Just go. Yes, join.
Welcome, TV Travis.
No, he's not in yet. I gotta do that. So keep talking.
So I mentioned that I think there has been some writer change, or maybe some writer mindset that has been changed as far as again. I think if Friends came out now in the medium of Netflix, where you could binge an entire season all at once.
What's that word again?
What did I say?
Binge?
I thought I said it right. Binge?
Bin. B-I-N.
Binge? Oh, whatever.
Say Illinois.
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 Bennies.
Binnies. Your eye sounds. Binnies. Illinois. Binge.
Okay. If you are able to watch Friends like you can now, Ross is, again, like the world's worst character.
No,
like,
he's pretty annoying.
He's awful.
Which I'm more insulted when my sisters equate me to Ross. Anyway.
No comment.
And finally, no surprise here, Steam sets new records. We've seen the memes. We've all heard the jokes about gamers being prepared for moments like this, or how one's lack of, air quote, social life is akin to times during social distancing. But it seems like those gamers are putting their money where their mouth is. And no, I don't mean a family-sized bag of Doritos, but rather Steam, the PC gaming marketplace juggernaut, has hit a new record of users over the past weekend with more than 22 million players logging in. Oddly enough, 1.1 million of those players were busy on Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Thousands of players are moving toward games like Doom Eternal, or like myself, are finding some really fun multiplayer games that are really cheap thanks to impromptu Steam sales to help keep people indoors and maintain their sanity while they ride out these troubled times. Oh, and for you non-PC users, Animal Crossing New Horizons is set to smash the 2013's Animal Crossing New Leaf sales of more than 12 million units sold worldwide. In fact, some analysts are saying that they'll be smashed within 2 months, as 1.1 or 1.8 million copies have been sold in 3 days in Japan alone.
Wow.
I have obviously seen a huge boost in friend requests on Nintendo.
What was that?
Friend requests?
Requests?
Marriage! But, yeah, I mean, so I saw a lot of friend requests in Nintendo Switch with people just spaghetti methoding going, please say you have Animal Crossings to be my friend. And so I've just got like 15 requests from some furs and some random people from Twitter that are like, be my friend, share your Animal Crossing. And I'm like, I don't have Animal Crossing. Do you want to be my Legend of Zelda friend? No? Okay. You need the church key. What are you drinking, my dear? Here we go.
I am drinking Brewer's Bridge. It is a collaboration between Brasserie DuPont and Allagash Brewing.
Oh, you like it. We've established long ago. You've got a special love for Allagash. All right, so yeah, I mean, Animal Crossing's obviously hit its like. I hate to say it.
How do you prepare to be that company that Doom is kind of the same way, but how do you prepare to be that company that's releasing something that was already anticipated on its own?
And it was hotly anticipated for a year or two now, for sure.
And happened to coincide with a epic world pandemic.
Hey,
like
we want all local governments are basically saying, you guys need to sit down and play video games. Just as a video game comes out and goes, you need to sit down and play our video game.
Right?
Like, I mean, it sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I would be amiss if I didn't mention the meme that's been going around about this is the opposite of 2 summers ago when we had the Pokemon Go.
Yeah, Pokemon Go was just like, everybody go outside and walk and meet friends and interact
with each other.
And trade Pokemon. And this year, like, stay the F inside. Don't go out. I mean,
interact with people virtually.
So my little sister had a kid who actually turns 3 today. Happy birthday, Haley.
Happy birthday, Haley.
And she and my mom, because she's living with my mom currently because they just sold their house and they're building a house fresh. And it's a weird story in of its own, but yeah. So they're waiting for the house to be built, and she's staying with my mom. And the three of them decided to go exercising. My little sister is out with her child. So it's basically 3 generations of my family right in one little 4-foot cubish block of concrete.
Okay.
And my sister's on her phone walking her daughter with mom just kind of sitting around doing whatever. Or walking doing whatever.
Walking with daughter, not walking daughter.
Okay, we've established this one before. That's the second story I'll get to in a second. But my sister looks up just as they turn a corner and somebody else is walking toward them. And the way my mom explained it, I wish I was there. But my sister looked up, saw the other person walking toward them, and went, and I quote, "Oh no, a human," and had a legitimate panic, breakdown moment of there's a human. But luckily, the other human, I guess I'm air quoting human here, crossed the street and kept her distance. But it's just funny to see that social distance. Oh no, a human. So, and yeah. So you got that level of social distancing and stuff. See, you have a tendency of.
I keep.
This is distracting, and I love it.
Anybody that's not child leashes that are needed sometimes.
And go back to walking. So, my sister came here last year with her daughter, and she was asking me. She's like, "Hey, can me and Haley stay with you? Because you got a nice big place, and you don't have any pets, so it gets nerve-wracking having a 2-year-old kid buy a dog or something. You never know." Especially my other sister's dog, who is a rescue, who was abused. You never know. It's
better to remove the chance of a bad situation than try to navigate it.
Sometimes. So I'm looking at my sister. I'm like, yeah, you and your daughter could, my niece. So you and your daughter, but my niece could absolutely stay here. I've got this huge courtyard in my backyard of the apartment complex that you could go play fetch with your daughter, and she's like, "I will play catch. She's not a dog." I'm like, you just throw the ball, she runs after it and brings it back to you. It works, right? There's a reason why I don't have kids.
I personally like the story of Haley and her complete ignoring of anybody else but your other sister's boyfriend. Hi, Jake.
Hi, Jake. Yeah, everybody's like, "Hi, how are you?" And she's looking at my third. I got 3 sisters. Boyfriend, and everybody's saying hi to her, and we're all on different kind of Amazon video chats and whatnot because thankfully it's 2020,
right.
Which will go back to
which
the story.
Which is why we can do this,
and we'll tangent back to this particular. But they have all these chats and everything else, so they're able to have my aunt in Michigan and my family in Arizona and me in Chicago and Chicagoland area. I'm from Chicago. I'm not in Chicago.
Not currently.
So it's just a case of being able to have this interconnectivity with each other is fantastic, which now will go tangent back around to Steam games selling like nuts. Keep an eye on Steam sales. Again, I have been playing a lot of Vermintide 2, which is $7 up until March 30th. So go play Vermintide. Go play these games that are on sale for even a Nintendo Switch.
I was gonna say I'll counter your.
Hang on, I gotta say this.
Okay.
Drawful for Nintendo Switch is currently on sale for 9 cents.
10 cents with tax.
10 cents with tax. But seriously, it's a Nintendo Switch game. It's a Jackbox game that allows you to connect and stream from your TV, and other people could join and play with their smartphones. It's 10 cents on their Nintendo store right now.
Right.
And
even if you're not keeping an eye on the deals themselves, look at the games that you currently have and you are currently playing, because just like what you talked about last night, a lot of games are going, hey, we'll give you double XP. We'll give you benefit for
stay the F at home.
Right. Hey, we have these gamers that we've already built a community for. We've already built this game to be multiplayer and be, hey, you play from your house or introverted based or whatever you want to call it. But hey, we're going to benefit our already playing community and give you extra XP and kind of just progress that power level, because why not try to give virtual benefit to the fact that we're all stuck at home? Like, let's call it a spade there.
And yeah, look into Rolled 20 or Roll D20. Look into. I know there's a website, and I can't remember what it is. Is this game on sale or online sales or something like that? Just do a Google search. Jujule it.
Just Jujule it.
Jujule it. But there's a site that gives you like a list of games that are on sale for Steam, Origin, I'm trying to think, Epic Games, like all of these good old games is another one that has like any of these download services and stuff like that. Roll20.net.
Yep.
But go to these sites and see what's on sale. You'll be surprised. And again, this pandemic is going to end one way or another. Everybody's going to be, or not everybody.
We hope.
mean, people will recover, will get better, or everybody dies and it's a planet-wiping virus. Either way. But now is a good time to go look online, go look at stuff, and go and purchase. And we'll save that bit for last. But now's a good time to go and look online and see what you can find in terms of games and such that are on sale for $5 for normally a $20 game or 30%.
And Camper Dave is absolutely correct with Tabletop Simulator. I've kind of tried to kick around other people that are like, oh, I can't do this, or like this. These are things that I've. I guess the best way to put it is people that are trying to get together with their friends to kind of feel like they're not part of this isolation. And they have like a weekly,
like you extras.
Yes, they have a weekly D&D game or whatever. If they have friends that are local and this is how they gather, reach out and look into the option of finding something digital or finding some way to get around that. Because again, we all need people. Introverts aside,
humans are sociable creatures by nature.
Correct. So you got to reach out. You got to find alternative versions of how to reach out. And I feel like that's a good segue for you.
So we're gonna end this week's news. And so let's go with that segue and tangent right into Grey Muzzle Game Masters.
Grey Muzzle Game Masters.
I still love that audio cue. I'm pretty proud. I guess we could do bonus points for anybody that's listening.
For a couple of those segues.
Well, this is also I'm going to upload this on Wednesday, so everybody who listens, send us through Twitter, send us an email at greymuzzlegeek@gmail.com, send us a message on Discord here. How many different sound effects are in that little stinger?
Okay. Nice. Maybe we'll give a shout out or praise or maybe
that's my Hammond skills from the America's Next Top Podcaster. He did all the editing and the sound stuff, and like we kind of actually had the fortune of talking to those guys because Brian Ibbett was in town for stuff.
Right.
But like, for as much as you listen to the Brian and like follow a lot of stuff,
the Brian,
as
much as I listen to podcasts and happen to listen to Frog Pants Network,
I gravitated towards Hammond, who is the technical guy, who is the guy that does a lot of stuff, and even actually one of our guys right now, Travis. Listening to him, he's got a good voice for stuff. I'm gonna shamelessly plug too. Go watch TV's Travis, like his movie stuff. If you like movies, go for it. Like
especially that Driver episode.
Oh, that Driver episode is good. There was some really there was some really creative and like fantastic insights.
Yeah,
like African American like role models. Like oh my goodness, boom, mind blown. Anyway, jokes aside though, like so for this week's Grey Muzzle Game Master, we'll talk about some of the games that we've been playing recently, and the one in particular that we played a little bit. We're going to kind of do a double because I know you don't have a whole lot to talk about in terms of the game I've been playing. But what's our big go-to right now?
Talking about social gaming and reaching out and feeling like you're not disconnected from your friends and your loved ones. Because a lot of our friends and loved ones live in a state away. and we don't get to see
2 states away. No, one. We'll count one. Indiana's not a state.
Yeah. I was right.
Why do all
wrong.
the trees in Illinois lean east?
Because nobody likes
Indiana sucks.
But we love Ethan and Stephanie, so that's like the only. Yeah. Anyway,
Indiana sucks.
So I'm just saying that in lieu of, hey, social distancing and everything, we have lots of friends that live in another state, but the way we can reach out and still be a part of each other's lives and kind of basically make it feel less isolating is to play Jackbox games. So what did we do last weekend?
So we actually ended up having 10 of us playing Jackbox.
Thank you, Camper Dave, for hosting.
Camper Dave, some of it, and Ian, some of it as well.
That's right.
But, like, Discord is a fantastic platform to allow you to play multiple, basically multiple people in a chat. And this is something we're going to do here as well, is I'm going to end up creating a channel for people who want to play.
Well, we already created the spreadsheet.
Yeah, we have the spreadsheet. There's a spreadsheet if you want to go through Game with Friends and Discord, or if you want to check up our Facebook. I didn't post on Twitter yet, but I'm a little hesitant on Twitter because then you're going to start getting
trolls,
the randos. But it is on Facebook for sure that you'll be able to access. And it's an open spreadsheet to put information for your name, your Steam name, if you want to play with people or invite people, your Nintendo Switch account, any of these gaming platforms that you could connect with other people.
Basically.
Yeah, I mean, all your gamer tags, because we are now in a point where, regardless of gaming is a good outlet, but we're at a point where there's some people who are not like yourself, who are not used to being kind of isolated and kind of being locked down away from people. Like, I throw you in a brewery or a bar or something, and you're a social butterfly, and you're out there being very you. When you're stuck to the couch and playing with your laptop and my Nintendo Switch and I don't know, Pornhub, full circle. It becomes a case of like there's a level of interconnectivity that that's lacking that you crave.
Right.
You are far more than I. I could live in a virtual world and just shout, "Brother!" for hours. I'm okay with that. So, Jackbox has been our thing. Is there a particular Jackbox game that you like?
I don't remember the game name of it, and I wish I would have written this down, but the one that decided to name us as...
So that was Jackbox Games 6.
Okay.
That had the personality traits.
Yeah, the personality traits. I really liked it, and it was scary accurate. I mean, even getting put up against my basically like.
Oh, I'm seeing Camper Davis typing. Let's see what he's got. Speak for a sec. What was that game? Well, no. We know he got like Cowardly and everything else.
Yeah, Cowardly Brave.
Yeah, Cowardly Brave.
What did you get? Like Sneaky. You were number one the first time we played it.
I'm good at reading people.
You are.
I pride myself on, and I blame that on the fact that I grew up in a police family. I play a rogue for a reason, and again, a bard is nothing more than a rogue that didn't die young. So I have I try to watch people. I try to pay attention to people and stuff like that. So I like those kind of games. It's like, hey, start guessing personality, start guessing traits. Like, I was also a psychology major.
I was as well.
And so to me, that's kind of fun. Like, to kind of look. And I also
pick out the little bit of personality
traits.
And
you never want to box anybody in those places because nobody fits into one neat box. But you can still look at things and go, huh, you and your mom had a strained relationship. Got it. Okay.
I really liked that game, and I always like murder
trivia.
Trivia Murder Party.
Which Jackbox 6 has number 2 with new questions and all that other stuff.
I like anything that kind of just takes the social dynamic of, hey, we're all hanging out in a group, or Like it's essentially Murder Party is Trivial Pursuit, but with
Pretty
the
much.
throw of just
People
extra
die.
little,
And all
like,
that. Yeah, it's
extra
flair.
little
It's
games.
flair.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's questions. It's
yeah.
bar questions, really.
And I, as two people that enjoyed bar trivia for a very long time, that it's interesting to know what people's interests are or what their knowledge is. I, for one, am great at pop culture, awful at math or geography.
I'm not that good at geography. Music, I will crush face.
But it's interesting because it's just one of those things where, you, again, the personality test, the versing drawing off. It's like Pictionary all over again.
Oh, Drawful?
Yeah, Drawful, or even the shirt-based one that we played at New Year's Eve. There's just like, and those people, and I find that especially in games like Fibbage, or if you were playing it tabletop style, Boulder Dash, people that are quick-witted are going to just give you those moments of frivolity and those laughing moments.
So, what do you need? What is required to play these Jackbox games?
Really, you just need somebody to host.
So, what requires the host?
So the host is to own the game,
Right?
Either through Steam or I'm guessing through Steam,
Nintendo Switch. You could. I think you could buy it individually. Jackbox.com has its own. You could purchase it and it runs. But
like
yeah,
a la carte kind
a la
of
carte
thing.
type thing. I know Steam definitely makes it easier because you could actually see who other is playing.
I know we, for a long time, always made sure that we had the most recent Jackbox grouping of games for New Year's Eve's parties, because you can have Jackbox playing in one room while other people are doing something in another.
Darts, talking,
drinking, doing whatever. But basically, you need somebody to host the game, and then you need people to log in.
So the host will own the game, and this now becomes the host's choice of how they want to stream it.
Right.
Again, I will have a channel available here for anybody that wants to stream it, and I'll work on that once we're done here.
Absolutely.
You will host it, and you will basically broadcast it as we are kind of doing now, where you could come and see her beautiful in my face live. But you could also scan the screen, or basically share the screen, which would be the Jackbox game itself.
And you get a room code.
So you get a room code is generated. Mm-hmm. So now what is needed of the players? What do they need to buy? What do they need to do?
So you get on your handy dandy cell phone and
or
you go
a tablet
to,
or anything
tablet.
else.
I've seen people play on tablets. I've seen people play on Switches. Anything that's internet accessible.
Yep.
And you can go to jackboxtv.com.
Nope. Jackbox.tv.
And you put in the room code that has been shared by the person that's hosting, and then you create a name, and it can be whatever you want it to be.
Yep.
And then you play.
So you don't need to download anything.
Nope.
You don't need to install anything. It is literally a website that you go to, input the room code. Apparently we're dying over here.
So what that I'm
Hang on a
hearing is, I'm guessing that is because I've been here for 2 weeks, is the SNES controller that Red has ordered for the Wii to better play some of the SNES games, like I mentioned earlier, which is Super Mario World. Apparently, we didn't realize we were doing an unboxing today on today's show.
Keep talking, Cedar.
But that would be the controller he has wanted for several months so that we can, or person can, play Super Nintendo Entertainment System games
Okay, my freaking
better
board is
than
terrifying.
on the little Wii controller with the Joy-Cons, which I suck at.
This is the weirdest. I can't imagine anybody that's normally listening to this and gets this episode that they're downloading expecting a normal episode.
Hey, it's early. It was expected at 5.
All right. Anyway.
That explains so much of my childhood right there. I love that remote. Like, that is my gaming nostalgia right there.
Sorry
I was
about
too
the-
old for the original NES, but I was definitely grown and
You weren't
raised.
too old. You're too young for the NES.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I played the hell out of NES. But anyway.
But I was definitely raised on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
So excited
with
about this.
Super Mario World, Prince of Persia, F-Zero. Those are my three go-to.
Lion King?
Lion King was more Sega.
Okay.
Real Monsters or yeah, those were my games.
I was anything by Square Enix was my Super Nintendo childhood. But yeah, so back to Jackbox. So all you need as a player for Jackbox, one person has to buy the game, which we have and other people have as well. You could then have, depending on the game, from anywhere of like 8 to 10 players that join for free. You don't have to buy anything. You take your phone, you put in the code, and you play. And then even if it goes beyond the 10, there's a feature where they have audience.
Yep.
Up to 5,000,
So,
1,000, 5,000.
number.
Yeah, it's an obscene number of people who could join your game. And now, admittedly, all of those people kind of like count as one, but they count as one vote while the players count as individual votes. But either way, yeah, we'll we'll get more into that, I guess, or we'll have more set up on Discord, or talk to your friends and think about maybe setting something up for yourselves to be able to like, hey, I got Jackbox, we'll play remotely, we'll share screens, we'll do whatever we need to do to play these games. And then even when all of this breaks, when this COVID nonsense dies down, or again, humanity is wiped out, either way, yeah, they're fun party games for New Year's, for birthdays, forever.
And ultimately, you're creating memories. And I think a lot of creating memories, especially with our group of friends, is having inside jokes and ha ha ha. Like, those are the things that you're creating when you hang out interpersonally with, like, face to face. You still have the opportunity, you're getting prompted, but you're still getting the opportunity to create those memories and still have those inside jokes later on, versus, hey, we are seeing the same 7 people or 20 people every other week or something like that.
And for me, Quiplash is always one of my favorite games because it's a quick call and response game. Mm-hmm. See, now I'm talking more like the conference study. It's a quick call and response game that allows you to, a prompt shows up, you come up with a snarky, funny, edgy, whatever answer, and then everybody votes on those answers. Mm-hmm. And again, the audience counts as a vote, the fellow players counts as votes. It's a really easy game. It's something that we wanted to highlight here because this is a perfect way to be sociable. Because again, the game I'm playing only has 4 players.
Right.
And we've run into situations where 4 people are in a game, and then the fifth shows up, and you're like, "Sorry, we're full." So, like, you do run into those situations. Jackbox definitely has more open availability for multiple people to play, and a lot of these games are.
And you get the
20-minute games.
Some of that is also a level of, I get to see my friends. I get to see their interactions. Like, it's over, just like our video chat now or our video recording now. I get to see their reaction. I get to see their beautiful faces. And
you are patronizing me, my dear.
I get to see their faces, and I get to, again, not feel absolutely so isolated that I've got no social interaction. And yeah, it seems to lessen the burden,
the pressure, the like, for someone like myself who does not mind being alone, because there's always a thin line between lonely and alone. Mm-hmm. It's good to identify it. And there's moments I just want to strangle the shit out of you. It's good that I'm I'm not alone in this particular case.
Right.
It's good that, like, we joked, like, we could be potentially sick together or be potentially sick apart, and there's a level of like, okay, well, now I'm just playing video
households,
games, so.
And we know we have several listeners that have kids and other family members.
Whoa, that's a whole different topic. If you got kids and you haven't drowned them yet, just to see the bubble stop, congratulations.
I'm just saying, we've got other households that have extended families, and they're obviously, like, there's a level of craziness to every situation. I personally, for me, even though I, within the last 7 or 8 months, did move out of a very populated household into a roommate I barely knew and ironically met on the internet, I would rather be quarantined with somebody that I've known for several years versus quarantined in a apartment that I didn't necessarily, like, I would be in a bedroom basically and not necessarily in an apartment that I can feel like I can walk around and be normal and at home with. Correct. Versus also wanting to try and kill you with the bubbles stopping. But again, rather be miserable together than miserable apart.
And then again, the game that I've been playing has absolutely have been Vermintide 2, which is on sale right now for like $8 on Steam. Yeah, pointless hack and slash, team up with your friends. It does have the Left 4 Dead. Is it Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2?
Boomer or whatever. Yeah, I remember Left 4 Dead kind of games from way back
Boomer,
when.
The Stalker, the Liquor.
Yeah,
the tongue that guy. Yeah.
Listen, there was a point in my life that the soundtrack of my own personal
Dave's giving me My Sigma's Hammer.
No. You have to understand. I lived with 2 other roommates at the time, and he's actually a listener. He's not on the chat now, but he's a show listener. A show listener. But a soundtrack of my own personal hell happened to encounter this other roommate saying Boomer on the, because I heard it so often because he gamed in the living room because that's the style of apartment that I lived in at the time.
So a boomer in that game was a corpulent creature that was filled with poison and would explode to damage the players. Is that relevant to social? Is it social commentary of being somebody who is so full of themselves that they've got an abundance of possession, wealth, whatever, and so full of themselves that they eventually explode to the delight of others if they're not within radius? Huh. Something to think about. And I think that ends Grey Muzzle Game Masters.
Grey Muzzle Game Masters.
And so now we're gonna do kind of a yip yap impromptu. Yep. I mean, fox noises, more or less, but rather than interviewing a person or individual, we have a list of like 9-10 people in Discord that we're taking listener questions. Mm-hmm. We have a couple listener questions already stored up. You want to pull it up?
I will.
Yeah, I know a couple people's. But so, unfortunately, we're unable to LARP this weekend. Everything has been shut down. And normally, when we go to do a LARP, when we go LARPing, do a LARP, we record in the vehicle of our choice, and we record in the car because it's just too much work to just like record when we get home and all that sort of stuff. So we record in the car during our 4+ hour drive, and are able to talk about stuff to fill time. Not only our drive, but to fill the show stuff. Look, it's lazy editing on my part. Let's call it for what it is.
So the first one we have from Seabass or Travis, that we know personally, another of our
artist,
Patreon,
one of our furry artists, or for he's not furry artist, but
artist that happens to help us with our art. How about that?
He made our logo.
Yes,
done.
The 5 best and 5 worst geek names that geek parents are naming their children now.
I mean, COVID. There's going to be.
It's gonna happen.
There's going to be some kid that's going to be named COVID.
COVID dad, like COVID middle name 19 Smith.
COVID.
But I don't. Does that count as a geek name?
No, it's. It's for the time. Like, it's better than you naming your kid Charmin or Angel Soft. Welcome to the stage, Angel Soft. Like.
So I think some of the 5 worst geek names, I think I would put Witcher, and I'm going to mispronounce this, Javier, or do you pronounce that with the Javier that it's supposed to be?
Yeah, I know a lot of Javiers, but I'm also a Rodriguez, so that's not fair.
Yes, Becky, or Becky Blue on our chat, Javier. I have no idea, but you have also die in a fire anybody that names their child Yennefer over, let's just be honest, the 9 other Jennifers we've had in our lives or in every school classroom. Don't name your child Yennefer.
Oddly enough, back when I was younger and wanted kids, Javier, I I wanted a daughter and I wanted to name her Rogue Mackenzie.
Okay, that's I wanted
Rogue Mackenzie Rodriguez.
Okay, that's not bad.
But it's still kind of nerdy.
So that I will see your nerdiness and way outdo it, because if I were going to have children, I always wanted boys, and I wanted D'Artagnan.
What the fuck is a D'Artagnan?
From Three Musketeers.
Oh, but like
Atreyu.
Atreyu is just not a hard. Okay, and
I think those were the only two.
D'Artagnan?
D'Artagnan or Atreyu were the 2 names I wanted as boys. So I will out nerd you in that sense.
I'm getting poked at to read a book. I've read it. I just couldn't remember. There's a thing called memory, and what happens with memory is wow. Nice.
Oh, great! I would have named it after a Buffalo Ground Patty company. That's awesome.
I mean, yeah. So what names do you see coming up now? I mean, obviously you got the COVID names. You potentially have.
You have all the Game of Thrones names.
I was thinking some Game of Thrones names. I mean, realistically, you're looking at whatever.
Sansa's going to be hot popular.
Sansa, yeah, daughter's named Sansa. Badass characters you're kind of looking at. So, what kind of video games are hot right now with characters? What kind of nerd type characters? I know the Critical Role has got their stuff coming up. Critical Role's got their stuff coming up. So, what
names come from that?
I'm laughing at you being subtle with the thing.
Yeah, when we're on recording.
Everything on a video,
we usually have a visual medium here will show us how close we are to the mic.
They say it should be this.
Hmm?
That should be your pinky and your thumb. So if Lisa or Jote is listening,
just to give you some...
Put your pinky on the mic, put your thumb at your lips, and that should be about the distance you want to be.
So you can get rid of your pee pops.
Well, and I've got the marshmallow. I got the clown nose on as well, instead of the pop filter, because it's too much in the way, and we want to show off our T-shirts, which somebody asked earlier. Do you want to go into that one?
So to tangent again, because this is
this is full tangent now. The show is over at this point. Now we're just going questions that are asked.
We did happen to do a semi-bar crawl for St. Patty's Day. And I came across, while kind of like looking up random stuff, I came across a series of hoodies that would have been really cute to have for St. Patty's Day, because we usually bar crawl for, again, our other Travis in the chat. His birthday, we always celebrate.
He is not the other Travis.
No.
Travis.
I was messaging, I was referencing to TV Travis about the other Travis. But Travis's birthday always happens around St. Patty's Day. We basically celebrate his birthday on St. Patty's Day. So that involves a bar crawl downtown Chicago. We happen to still partake in it. But I liked the hoodies that you could customize, and I almost got like Let the Stumbling Begin or something like that on a green and white lettering hoodie. Well, they wouldn't have arrived in time. Right. So I luckily, again, work for a company that has somebody that is my coworker that does lettering on a lot of stuff and ink printing, basically. Mm-hmm. So I bought Chicago... Screen printing, correct. I bought Chicago Blackhawk Irish shirts that look like softball shirts, basically, and happened to get her to, within a couple of days' time, add white and red, and our favorite numbers.
Now, we
at
didn't
the back of
realize
it.
how funny it is, though, because, like, white 03 and, more importantly, red 21 are food colorings, it sounds like.
I mean, yes, red 21 definitely sounds like a food coloring.
So why 03?
3 to me has always been my favorite number. It kind of comes from my mom because she was born on 3/3 of 53.
Okay.
So 333, it's just a number that I carried on through life that I've just, things happen to you in threes. I really like the number 3.
Oh, you superstitious.
I mean, kind of, yeah.
Okay.
So 21.
I mean, I was born on the 21st of September. 21 is divisible by 7 and 3. Tree. 21 is also the legal age of drinking.
Fair. Okay. So, and then obviously for our listeners that may not know us from our gaming or our LARPing experience, red and white reference the fact that we happen to, without really knowing each other several years before knowing each other, named ourselves the same names. Dusty, Dustie.
We didn't name ourselves the same name.
I named myself after you.
You didn't name yourself
You were
after
the
me
original.
either. I started in 2000 and is named Dusty because I like the name Dustin. I don't know why. It's kind of a neat name.
I created a name and liked the name Dusty, Dustie, and the people that were helping me create the character at the time didn't really tell me there was already a red fox by the name of Dustin or Dusty, and let me create the character. And I happened to start LARPing, and then I got a lot of, oh, you're Dusty? Wait, there's already a Dusty. And then, lo and behold, we became
Ta-da.
friends.
We need to find... All right, some more questions. You find that question. You keep him busy. You need another beer, I assume.
No, I mean,
No,
if
you
you'd
need
like to-
another beer.
okay.
I'm going to go get me one, too. So,
Got it.
continue on. Okay.
And we're back. Sorry about that, guys. It wouldn't be fun unless it's an experience.
Kill your beer.
Crap.
Yeah, we good. We got it.
Ow.
What are you reaching? Oh, at this point, we're kind of drunk.
You are.
Oh,
maybe.
I'm drunk.
Okay.
I killed my old fashioned in seconds, and I'm good to go.
All
I
right.
am a lightweight. 120 pounds, is it much?
He's kind of a lightweight, not gonna lie.
It's called an efficient drinker.
Okay, sure. So I'm gonna reread the question before our audio fail over here.
Yeah, go ahead and disconnect and reconnect to the stream. You're all good. I got the video back up again.
Everything should be good, guys. We apologize.
Yeah, I did not realize I had my feet tangled up in the audio or the audio record stuff. So yeah. Anyway, next question.
The most video game based power for your day-to-day life, not the most powerful, but a power that has appeared in a video game that would specifically enhancing to your personal lives. Again, this is from Travis. Example, Sands of Time. I would fast forward just before a network outage so I could start broadcasting big breaks in the system before they happen. Also, I'm a klutz.
Me?
Yeah.
Mega Man. I guess I have to beat up my opponent, but I want to get their knowledge and their abilities. So I can
Isn't that Kirby?
So I could just run up to Lenny Kravitz and and then all of a sudden I could learn to rhyme like Dr. Seuss. Like if I could fly like a dragonfly so very high and in your eye. Just stuff like that. I'd be able to, if not beat up someone, be able to gain somebody's ability by, I guess, interacting with them. Or I guess beating some. Yeah, I will beat up both Seabass and Ironor, and I have art skills.
Profitable art skills. So I just
guess that theme song from Mega Man 2. Okay, continue.
So I think I would either do a similar Sands of Time, because who doesn't like, as much as I hate it in a LARP scenario, because nobody fucking likes blueberry muffins, but I would do either able to do Sands of Time and be able to rewind seconds or moments in time, or hear other players' internal monologues.
I would hate that.
You would hate for me to have that?
No,
or...
yeah, you be interacting with me and you just hear, she's a bitch, she's a bitch, she's a bitch, she's a bitch. Goddamn, she won't shut up. She's a bitch. No, you don't want that.
But knowing that information, I could go, okay, so I change the scenario or I change the situation to benefit me, and basically like almost what women want kind of situation, which isn't a video game, I understand, but I'm just giving context to the clues of that. So I think those would be my two powers that I would do, either Sands of Time or something like internal monologue.
I'm trying to look up some other stuff. What's some other questions that we had, my dear Dusty?
I will have to.
There we go. Good job, Travis. TV's other Travis. Absolutely. A little bit of dead air. There we go. Obviously, if anybody's in chat right now, too, go ahead and throw us some questions and throw us some stuff, and we'll be happy to answer some nonsense. We're kind of on, I would say dead air, but overtime at this point because we aren't uploading regularly. Like, I pay for a service.
Right.
I'm not getting my full hours worth or my full time's worth. So let's get into some of the nonsense in terms of some questions anybody has.
Becky Blue has personally messaged me at one point and says, an interesting topic for your podcast. Deep ways a piece of media has unwittingly affected you even to this day. Basically, without giving into personal information that she gives in the question, but basically geek media that has changed how you interact with people, or if you read a piece of, a novel or something, and you found yourself being prone to somebody with those same personal characteristics, how did that media change your view on things?
That is a multi-part for me.
Okay.
I mean, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Biker Mice from Mars, SWAT Cats. Like, it's a reason I got into the furry community.
I was going to say, so that kind of just rounded out just any media that had anthropomorphic. Say it with me now. Anthro.
He's not afro. He's not anthropomorphic. Anthropomorphic
creatures.
Sure.
You gravitated to, not really knowing that in later life you would identify as a furry.
Sure, and that was something that got me an interest into furry. But as for literary characters, I'm a huge fan of the Discworld series, and as much as I like Sam Vimes because he reminds me of family, the Patrician, who is like the all-knowing kind of shady character,
excellent.
He's one of my favorites. So I Vetinari, if I'm not mistaken, his name is one of my favorite characters. That definitely shaped some of my thought of. I started really reading this when I was like 18, 19 years old, and it started kind of...
So a formative time in your life.
So I started pushing the thought of almost asking everybody, what is their angle? What do they want? What are they trying to get from this conversation? How does this benefit them? And it is something that is painfully ingrained in my being in terms of when I'm dealing with social interaction. I mean, we have the conversation of, are all relationships transactional? I believe they are.
And you gained that from the social media that you or I guess
Not
I
social
shouldn't
media.
say social media,
The media
but the
that
media
acquired.
that you took in at a formidable part of your age.
And that is the question I asked: is all, like, are all friendships and relationships transactional? Do they have a case of, hey, because we're this?
I hear my senpai in my head telling me, no,
No.
they're not.
And
if they are, you should get new ones.
at the same time, I go, yes, everything has a level of transaction involved. It's just a matter of how much do you value that transaction? How much weight do you put on that transaction? I mean, we have, let's call it for what it is, we have Patreon supporters that want to support us for what we do because it's something that we dream or whatnot. At the same time, there is a level that because they're supporters, not because of friendship, not just friendship, but because it is a show and a service that we provide, we are beholden to that contract to provide that service. So and it dances on all. The answer is yes and no.
You all are
and none.
getting a very good insight into Red's mindset right now. I want you to know, out of multiple years of being his friend.
That's the point of these kind of questions, though, is to get into these ideas and to ask these questions. At what point do you have these friendships and these relationships that are and are not in some fundamental level transactional? And I bring this up specifically.
Thank you, R. Burke. That's absolutely
Perfect.
appropriate.
And so we ask these questions in terms of, like, and I bring this specifically of when we were doing the America's Next Top Podcaster, I refunded our Patreon supporters the month that we didn't put out any episodes. And a question kind of got brought up of, well, we do it to support you, which is fantastic, and I love every amount of support we get from people. However, to me, regardless if you're a friend or just a supporter or whatnot, we are beholden to the contract that is stipulated by Patreon whatever,
or just,
to deliver this product. I've had people buy me beers because they're my friends. I've had people, I don't know, take me home from a Viking bar crawl because they're my friend. But that's not a stipulation in our friendship. That's not a, hey, you're my friend, so I expect this of you.
Right.
That said, because we do this show and because we do things, there's that stipulation between the two. So that's where I get my mindset of it. But that is a lot of that mindset goes back to the point of this character is Vetinari, who is very much thinking ahead of time of what are you planning to benefit? Where are you going? Where are you going with this? What is your plans? And if you're not going to tell me your plans, I need to, as you've heard me use the line before, if it is a 1% probability, I have to treat it like an inevitability.
I know personally for myself, I think a formidable type of
Formidable
media,
or formative?
formative media,
I want to know formidable.
media in my life was the Wheel of Time series.
Absolutely.
And Rand and his ability to be, I mean, a lot of people call it the Dritz syndrome, but to me, I equate
Driz Dorden.
I equate it to the Wheel of Time, where you are going to find people in your life that think they are the best at everything. And they will never grow as individuals because they are not. They do not possess the ability to get any better in their life because they already think they're perfect. So I kind of gravitate away from those characters or those people that might have those character mindsets, because if they feel like they have no room to grow, I am looking to benefit from other people's character growth. And I say character, but I'm talking about personal growth. If I get to know you as an individual and I get to know you that you have this flaw, that flaw is something maybe I shouldn't say benefit from, but something I can help you with, or we go on this journey to better ourselves together, or we can, as Hallmark as you want it to be, you can complete each other by going on a journey together or an adventure together to be better people because your flaw might be one of my strengths and vice versa.
Sure.
So I think from the Wheel of Time series, I learned that you cannot, and it's one of the things that to kind of tie it together to role playing or other LARPs that we've done in the past. There's LARPs that you can be a 100th level character, you can pay all the build you want, and you can go on a mod by yourself and you can survive that mod. But what benefit do you get out of that? I'd rather go on a mid-level mod with 5 or 7 or 20 of my friends and survive that mod based on all of our weaknesses and strengths.
Well, it becomes a shared experience.
I'm
That's
all
ultimately what
more
you're
about
looking
the
for.
shared experience. And Wheel of Time kind of equates that. Is you have some characters that are like, no, I must go do this by myself. I must possess these character traits that allow me to do this myself. I would prefer to be with people that want the shared experience. And there's a lot of characters. I am very much a fan of support characters in any medium that I partake in. Movies, stories.
Which is all I play as a support character.
Correct. Is I would rather be a part of shared experiences than anything else.
So I'm going to pull up a question from one of our listeners, Becky/Blue. So what's one piece of geekdom that is required, in your opinion? Like, what is something that is just a mandatory? That's something that, like, hey, now obviously geek is
A broad spectrum.
a very, very broad term because you could be into model trains and you could be a geek about model trains and you could just be like, oh, this specific year, make. I'm trying to think of some train things because my dad was into trains. I can't think of any of them now. But so we're going into overall geekdoms. And I guess in this, we're kind of dealing with role-playing and that such. Because, like, yeah, what is something you require? Like, if you... Somebody's like, hey, I want to be a geek like you. I don't know. We're going to go wild, left hand, like left field over here. Somebody comes up and is like, hey, I'm interested in the kind of geekdom that you're in. Because, again, we're also niche geekdoms. We're both in furry, for a lack of a better term. More like one of us owns a suit, but for the geekdoms that we're familiar with, what would be something that would be a requirement that either reading or gaming or something that you think that'd be like, hey, you need to have this.
Honestly, it's community. I think
No. Everybody gets community.
Okay.
That becomes a non-thing. What is a specific thing of like here, and I'll go into. I myself have never seen Game of Thrones, in spite of a fantasy geekdom.
Okay.
My brother literally commented that he wanted his or her geek card because apparently I should have seen it because of dragons and sword fights, and she has not read the books either. So, what would be something?
That's a really hard question because I don't think.
Well, think of a geekdom.
I mean, okay,
Name it,
but
and then name a thing about it.
But it's hard for me as a fact that we are saying at the end of every show is
We're all geeks. Right.
we are all geeks.
Right. Don't say the full thing because then the show ends.
But
it is. It's kind of
click.
Yeah.
But I think to be a geek with like a geek card. I mean, is that what you're essentially equating here?
So let's change things here a little bit. I'm going to list a topic. You name something that's almost required. So we're going to go fantasy genre. What is something that you absolutely need to have seen, listened, read?
It's hard not to go with Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Wings.
It's hard not to because that's I think it's
staple.
Again, it's a staple or a pinnacle of fantasy geekdom. Is you at least need to understand the concept of what happens in those books.
So what about zombie apocalypse? Going relevant with COVID.
Night of the Living Dead or something with World War Z or even because you could go there's almost a generational gap there between Night of the Living Dead,
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead, World War Z. I am not the biggest zombie fan. Like, I like the genre, but it's not like I have to devour everything that is zombie. But I would say specific, depending on your generational age, there are keystones in that function.
How about video game nerd? What's maybe a video game that you need to have played?
I wouldn't sum it down to a game. I would sum it down to what
Style
consoles.
Game. Sure. Oh, I wouldn't say console. Console's a rough one because you have Super Nintendo dominated in RPGs.
Okay.
But Sega was all about their side scroller. Between Rayman and all these other like Sonic the Hedgehog versus Mario could be a big argument, but what would be a I'm into video games. Well, I'm not much into video games. What should I play? But
you could start the conversation of, okay, what was your favorite console? And then build your conversation off of games that were on that console. Like, you go against, you go against, okay, I'm a PC gamer versus a console gamer. Right. You kind of have to figure out what world you're living with it. So you have to figure out what platform you played to go off of that. You can't just base it off of game.
So ultimately, it's a hard question to answer, just because, like, I agree. The question of itself is, what piece of geekdom is required in your experience, in your opinion? Unfortunately, it's a case of what kind of geekdom are we talking about. So I will agree with you in terms of, if you're going into the fantasy genre, I mean, Lord of the Rings is huge. I would say watch the movies over read the books. If you're newer into it. If you're an old school, then yeah, you've already read the books. I've read the books too. But the books aren't easy to devour. Like, Tolkien's flaw is his greatest asset of he is descriptive. Mm-hmm. He will spend
it's just like Stephen King.
He will spend 15 pages describing the way a tree leans when it blows, but he's descriptive. So, depending on the kind of reader you are, it could be an off-put. Like, I know Tolkien was hard for me to read when I was younger because I was busy reading Salvatore. Okay. Which all the Driz, and more importantly, the Cleric Quintet, which is actually a really good series that goes to the wayside. But his style of writing was rapid fire. It was made to be consumed in a faster method. Kind of like Dan Brown, if you're big into the whole...
I have read every single Dan Brown movie, or a book. I've
seen
every movie.
His writing is terrible. His writing is absolutely garbage. It is 100% garbage. But he is also writing for a modern generation that is a little bit shorter attention span. He's got like 100 and something chapters in his book.
Okay, but that doesn't mean
the Bible doesn't even have that many fucking chapters, and it's twice as long.
But there's no specific definition in the world of literary or even in the freaking dictionary that says this is how long a chapter has to be.
But it's more of a concept of the chapters are short to grab the reader in that regard.
And keep them engaged. I don't necessarily...
But you're dealing with
it.
But you're dealing in a time period where attention spans are shorter, where even you will watch a show and grab your phone and look something up within 5 minutes. That is a way that society kind of is now, because we have a lot of information. We have a lot of abilities to gravitate to these things in a hurry. Whereas if you compare to years ago, you got to sit and read Lord of the Rings because there was nothing else to do. And I don't mean that negatively. I mean that was where you're focused.
This was your media that you consumed.
This is what you consume. So you're able to spend more time describing the way a tree leaned or a whole dwarven
red
song
the blood
or something.
is in a carpet like Stephen King. I mean, he'll spend several chapters describing how blood red the color is in something.
It's just, to me, it is more of a case of where good writers will adjust with society. I mean, Harry Potter,
J.K. Rowling.
Rowling is a good example of that, of adjusting her writing style to... There's a lot of vagaries in her stuff. And I was reading a little bit recently. There's a lot of, vagueness there. She describes some stuff and leaves some stuff vague, but it's also supposed to be for the reader's imagination.
Right.
Knowing that her readers are indoctrinated with TV, with music, with media, in the 90s.
How much of that comes with the terminology of a Mary Sue world that we live in?
What do you mean Mary Sue world? We don't live in a Mary Sue world at all.
Yes, we do. In literary...
Not at all. Continue.
Oh, we're fighting.
Go for it.
Literarily, you want to make your description as vague as possible to make the average reader feel like they identify with the character.
Sure.
That's what Mary Sue means.
Incorrect.
Okay.
Mary Sue is an indestructible character.
No.
We're going to look in. Mary
We are so fighting
Sue.
right now.
Mary Sue is a generic name for any fictional character who is so competent or so perfect that it appears absurd, even in the context of a fictional setting. Mary Sues are often the author's self-insertion or wish fulfillment. They are Superman. Superman's a Mary Sue. To a degree.
So maybe my definition is...
Off.
It's not off because you make it as vague as possible so you can make everybody feel like they're the Mary Sue. If I say my description, Bella Swan, okay, we're going to have a conversation about this because I feel passionate about this. So Bella Swan is your typical Mary Sue because Bella Swan's description is so vague. It's basically any brunette with a...
It's not Mary Sue, though. Time out. The Mary Sue concept is anybody that's highly skilled in whatever. If Bella Swan is a vague character, then it's more of a shell character.
When I'm talking about vague, I'm talking about description.
Right.
I'm saying Mary Sue descriptions are... I am making them as vague.
Sue.
Okay.
Oh my God, Mary... Like, we're going to fight in a second.
Solve this argument for us because you are our literary writer that follows us.
Down. See, there we go.
Anyway.
Honestly, jokes aside, like, I know you want to fight me on this, but Mary Sue is basically a superhero character or a character that is so good. It's basically a MacGuffin. It's a character MacGuffin.
It's a Dritz.
Yeah, it's a perfect person. It's a perfect whatever. Bella Swan's not a perfect person. She has abilities, but she is more of a shell character that allows a reader to insert themselves in. The two are not the same. I promise you, they're not the same.
Okay.
And in fact, the difference is that they will allow a person to more wholly insert themselves in that role because they're relatable. I don't know if Bella Swan is a relatable character. I'm sure she is to some, but it allows that avenue to go that route, to be that character, to feel in that place. If you're a 14-year-old girl waiting to be swept away by a sparkle vampire, or a 600 sit-ups a day werewolf, then yeah. See, a Mary Sue character is someone who is supremely confident with and has no flaws.
Okay.
It's hard to insert yourself into a Mary Sue character. Which is why a Mary Sue character is something to acknowledge.
For a best example of a Mary Sue is actually the chick out of Twilight.
Not required to be
confident.
But she is Mary Sue because why? Oh, Jesus Christ. I need to not look at chat. I think I know him. I think I recognize that suit.
Thank you for easing the tension there, RB. Anyway.
But so there you go. She wasn't confident in it, but everyone loved her. But that's not to say that you can insert yourself in that character. That character in of itself was flawless. I will still disagree with that because Bella Swan was also a fairly useless character.
You're not wrong.
She was, and if anything, that is the anti-feminist character.
Anti-Dritz character.
Well, anti-feminist, where she needed to be saved by the vampire or the werewolf or the whatever else, and then she gets pregnant, which is your favorite thing too. So I mean, it's the perfect.
So
anyway, yeah.
Do we have any more additional questions?
There was one question up here that was offered by Nisbet. Name at least 2 games that you do not currently own, but would like to own and play. And expansion packs don't count. And they may not have been released in 2020, but
ooh,
what's a game that you've not played? Oh, don't give us that. It's a perfect question, Becky. We appreciate it.
That's a really bad question to start off on the non-gamer. Why don't you start?
I mean, a game that I don't own currently. I've never had an N64.
Okay.
So playing Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask properly would be really good.
Ocarina? You said Ocarina.
Ocarina of Time. So we're going to get petty just because you don't know what a Mary Sue is? I thought so. Okay. I also didn't own a Nintendo GameCube. And I know there's emulators out there that exist, but I also wanted to get into the Metroid Prime series, which I thought were really, really good.
If I'm going off of Ernor's comment here, I would go off of House on the Hill, or Betrayal. What is it? Betrayal.
For a board game?
Yeah. Board game. Betrayal on the House of the
Betrayal
Hill.
on House on Horror Hill or something like that. Betrayals of houses on hills that belong to horrors on the hill that betrayed you of the hill.
The Legacy one. The one where you can play...
Oh, yeah. I heard about that. That just recently came out. Betrayal at the House on Haunted Hill. Legacy.
Yes, Legacy is the one I would play. And the other game that I know that I don't personally own... Oh, man. That's a really good question.
Dead air.
I
Dead
know. I'm trying to think. I would probably say something in the line of maybe Mario, like an extension of a Mario game, like Mario Party.
Mario Sunshine, maybe?
Yeah,
I can see you
something I
playing Mario
haven't
Sunshine.
played or I've seen demoed somewhere, but I haven't gotten to actually experience it just because, again, I'm not really a gamer. But something I could invest my time in just playing solo and kind of working through. Any game that's got Yoshi in it is kind of up my alley.
Mario Sue. Nice.
Mario Sue. Nice.
Maybe Gears 3.
Okay.
And I think Gears 4. Because I know I played Gears 1 and 2 with an old friend of mine that we used to like play the hell out of those. But I know I've stopped after 2. So that would be another one. Gears would be another one I would get into.
Whatever the game was where we've watched a couple of our YouTube gamers that we like to watch, either Jacksepticeye. No, not the screw that game. I will never play that game. But I'm talking about the guy in the pot with the
Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy.
I kind of want to play that game. Now, knowing what you saw of me playing the first tree last night, you know that I will probably lose my mind playing that
So what you're
game.
saying is to ensure that we could just retire now, is to record you playing Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. You basically just losing your mind.
Yeah.
And then putting it for the whole world to see.
Kind of. And I think I would make a vague overall statement, even though we both know we might be susceptible to a visual problem.
I won't play that game because I will degrade into racial epitaphs in a second. Nope, not doing it. We will lose our podcast.
But even seeing the Half-Life Alexa or Alex game last night.
Half-Life Alex for the VR.
I think that would be really cool. I think it would mess with us both visually.
I would get sick.
You would get,
I'm motion sickness sitting here talking to you. Like, I would not be able to play.
Motion sickness is a big thing for you, but even just watching it, what I saw and people moving around and like accepting it and like moving their limbs and everything, I suffer with analog controls on cameras. I think visually, VR wise, I would be very hesitant to play that game, but those would probably be my like handful of games that I would like to play console wise.
All right, and I think that'll conclude us for this week's special bonus 2-hour shenanigery.
But before we end, I would like to go on a little bit of a soapbox because I personally, again, working for a company that's allowing me to work from not necessarily home, but work from a location distant.
You work from home.
Work from home. I know I'm saving some money with gas or tolls or whatever. If you are in the ability, and I will not put any harm or
What are you gonna do?
a judgment on anybody else.
Flail at people.
But I'm just saying, if you are in a position that you can give a few dollars, 10, 15, 20 to a commission, an art commission, or somebody that works in the art industry, please do so. They are the ones that are kind of suffering the most. They are the ones that are consistent with people getting commissions from them. And now that people are kind of like tightening down, please reach out to those people that you think are artists, creation makers like ourselves, or
we're not asking for money.
No.
If anything, we're saying tackle your artists. Another thing to look into is your local businesses, especially the small businesses,
breweries.
Go find your breweries. Go find your local, whatever you're passionate about there. And from what I'm hearing, a good thing to do is pick up gift cards. Go visit if you can, or contact them and spend $50.
Yeah, I know I am personally saving money, and I will put it on the shoulders of the fact that we make this show every week. We go and do a lot of adventures just for the fact of, hey, let's go to this random brewery, let's go to this random restaurant, let's go to this local business, just because at the end of the day, it's something we can talk about. It's something that we can share an experience with. We are quarantined in this apartment and therefore not spending that money doing it. I would rather go to Skeleton Key that we've gone to locally and been like, here's a $25 gift card or something that I know we'll use later.
Once this all blows over,
but
Shaun of the Dead. Anyway, once this all blows over, like, we'll go and get a pint. We'll go and get stuff. So, support your local artists. I know, and just in the chat, I'm going to be a little shameless here. Obviously, go to Improve Your Day.
Yep.
At Facebook. Travis does all sorts of stuff. He's done a million things for us as well. Uranor, I'm sure he'll post something in our chat as well. He does fantastic art.
And we'll definitely tag you guys in once we post our show and everything, because you guys are great.
But look up for comic artists and look up for your favorite artists that may survive on conventions and these social gatherings that have now required us to be social distancing. Drop them some money. Just be like, hey, draw a sketch with a smiley face and here's $20.
And if you don't know somebody personally, reach out to your social network of either Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any social network site. If you don't know somebody personally that's involved in art, you know somebody else that has a loved one that is their only stream of fundage. Reach out to them. If I have the accessible, expendable income, let's spread that, because at the end of the day, the arts are what keep us sane in this world. It's one of the things that I personally, just to kind of throw it out there, I've been really isolated, and I've been struggling socially because I'm not a gamer. I have, read as a friend, and I have other friends that we've gamed with over the last week or so, but I personally, on a day-to-day basis, don't really interact with a lot of people other than my coworkers. And that's even on a digital level. But I have, because of the communities I'm involved with, I have artists that I can reach out and go, hey, draw me this sketch for $10 and I'm going to tip you another $10 just because I have the expendable income. Please reach out to those people, because that's what keeps us sane, being able to continue to function as adults in this world.
I mean, I've definitely had many times when, for even my birthday, Travis has done a photo for the two of us for the Grey Muzzle. Our big poster, which we have available. Well, not available on sales. We'll see about that, but let me make sure we're all in center here.
That's something to improve your day through together, because he's a supporter of what we do and what we're experiencing and what art we create, which is audio art. But again, please reach out to those people. Please try to either, if you don't have an idea what you want to commission right this now, say, hey, I want to give you money for something in the future. Just, again, arts are what keep us sane in this world. And it really is and honestly, it's a passion for other people. So As always, and in case Red possibly interrupts me,
Go for it.
we are all geeks. To be otherwise may very well mean to live without passion. Good night.
Good night, y'all. Thank you for listening to another episode of Grey Muzzle Geekery with Dusty Red and Dusty White.
You can support our continued geekery at our Patreon website, patreon.com/greymuzzlegeekery. Be sure to check back often as we start to add geek cred levels.
You can send your questions and comments to us at greymuzzlegeekery@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at greymuzzlegeek.
We can be found on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and Buzzsprout.
And a special thank you to Pepper Coyote for our intro theme. And if you like what you heard, you can find more of his stuff on Spotify, Patreon, or directly from his Bandcamp page.